we're bringing to you another guest guru training from Tara Zirker, who is the founder of Successful Ads. And she's here to talk all about paid traffic and how you can successfully scale your business with DIY paid ads. We're going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee-yee!
Tara is going to talk to us today all about how to launch successful ads. And I had Tara on the Happy Hustle podcast, was very impressed by her and her work and her experience and just how she presented the material. And I feel like paid traffic is somewhat of a scary topic for some of us. Others, I know in the club, I know some people are spending, 6 figures a month doing paid traffic. So whether you're a personal brand, you have a service business, a product-based business, a real estate business, like paid traffic can help expand your reach, thus your reputation, thus your revenue. Am I right on that, Tara?
100%. Absolutely.
So I don't have your full bio up, but let me just give it to you. Give it to the guys as I see it, and as I recall some of the highlights. So you're the founder of Successful Ads Accelerator, I believe best-selling author, podcaster, and you were paid by Meta directly to be a consultant for them, or not paid, but work directly with Meta because you were getting like return on ad spend for your clients through your agency that superseded any of their other agents or other agencies. Maybe you can unpack that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just because I was blown away by that, that you were just crushing it that hard that Meta was like, we got to bring in this person to figure out how these ads are working this effectively. So most importantly, she is a happy hustler, y'all. And we're going to learn from her. We'll do a 30-minute technically, ish training and then a Q&A. But I mean, if you want to keep it casual and just dive in, and guys can raise their hands, or put them in the chat, some of the questions that might arise throughout. But the floor is yours. If you need to share your screen, I'll open it up. And
Okay.
guys, let's give her a warm Happy Hustle Club welcome. Little clap it up for Tara Zirker.
You guys are awesome. What a great group. Oh my goodness. I would expect nothing less from Kerry, but seriously, what a great group. All right, you guys, thank you, Kerry, for the intro. And I'm super excited to be with you guys. So let's kind of just survey this room. And if you guys would just, first of all, I would love to know a little bit about each of your businesses. So if you'll just turn to your chat, almost small enough, we could just do quick intros, but
whatever. If we could do chat works, whatever.
Yeah, let's do chat. It's just a little bit. Okay, so if you guys would just pop in the chat, like maybe where you live, that'd be fun to hear. And then what is your business? And then next question is, are you advertising on Meta currently? And what is your ad spend each month? So go ahead and pop that in the chat. Yay. Okay, Michael, recruiting agency out of Connecticut, not on Facebook. Okay. Love it. I'll wait for a few more to come in. Yes. Carrie, you're doing it all organically. I love that.
Well, and let me just say, do you count boosted posts and stuff into this category?
You could, sure.
Okay, then I'm not all organic. Yeah, because we boost stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, guys, give me a few more. So like 3 or 4 more. Mike says from Colorado, consulting and e-com, not advertising yet. Joey's out of Quebec, and BioOptimizer supplements. Yes, love it. Okay, paid ads, podcast ads, you're advertising everywhere, multi-channel. Bozeman, oh yay. Okay, so I grew up in West Yellowstone, just so my Montana people. Business coach, transitioning founders to leaders, no paid ads, 20 bucks a day from Tim in Nashville, business coach. I love it, you guys. And then Jordan, Washington, D.C., real estate investment and buying, lots of PPC. Yep. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. And Jordan says, turned off Facebook when ROI dropped halfway through the year, but you're still doing advertising on Google. So that's amazing. Facebook did have a moment. It was pretty gnarly to get through, but I will say that results are back. They're doing really well. Targeting has been better. And that all could change though, because you guys have probably heard this drama happening with Google right now, that the Pixel is basically, or cookies are basically going away at the end of the year. So that will shake things up again. That will also shake things up for your PPC ads too, though. So there's going to be additional things that you'll need to implement in order to be able to overcome the cookie, basically the cookies crumbling is the bottom line there. Okay, Grant says ocean cleanup company, e-com products, 6 figures a month through Meta. Okay, cool. And then Ryan, he's driving based in Idaho. Test my home. Not sure if he's doing paid traffic. Okay, amazing, you guys. Well, if it's all right with you, what I thought I would do is just kind of share trends, things that we're seeing. Also just like my tried and true testing stacks. And also if you guys are ever struggling with your own ads, or maybe your ads team is there's always a little bit of tension between business owners and ads teams. Just some metrics that you can really use as your North Star and to help guide them along and kind of push them into greater creativity, because it's a real fine balance when you're working with someone to do your ads. And some of you are at a spot maybe where you want to bring your ads in-house, or you want to have a team member go through and learn ads so you can start doing these really effectively. We just had one of our members who came through, had her team member come through, who she was spending like probably 50, 60,000 a month on ads. And she was like, listen, I know that my agency is spending, because her ads were really good, really easy. Like, I know they're only spending, a couple dozen hours a month on this, and I could bring this in-house and put this on my marketing team for like a fraction of the cost of what we're paying someone to do it. So some of you are at that point where you're like, let's consider bringing this back in-house, having one of your team members take this on as their responsibility. Or you're working with an agency and you just need to kind of have some strategies in your back pocket to give a gentle and effective kick in the pants when they're not doing their job as well as they should, right? So Carrie gave me such a nice intro. Thank you so much, Carrie. So I don't think I've met anyone in the room before, but like Carrie said, my name is Tara. And historically, our agency has been a very small boutique agency. We manage between, this is a little outdated, 5 to 10 million a month, a year in ad spend for our clients. Most of our clients are spending anywhere between 50 and 250, meaning 50,000 and 250,000 a month on their ads. And by design, we have kept our agency services extremely small, focusing on just a few clients. I really consider that to be more of our lab, where we're doing, constant testing and making sure that we're really, really close to the market, because our bigger focus is on the training side of our company. So that is where we focus on training small business owners and their teams on how to do their own ads. We have 500 active members in there. The name of that is Successful Ads Club, and our brand new program within that is Successful Ads Accelerator. And we're really, really like, this is the work we just love to do, is like training people, because it is just such a massive cost savings when you're just starting out and you can do it yourself, or when you are at a certain point and you want to bring it in-house for the cost savings. We've contributed to the building of many 7 and multi-7-figure businesses. We ourselves hit our first 7-figure year in 2019, which was really exciting. And the great story that goes along with that was I took 4 months off that year for maternity leave, had my second child. We now have 3. And the team continued to grow our revenue while I was away. So we figured out a lot of like systems and organization organizational structure that allowed us to be able to do that. Okay, so we kind of went around the room and I've got a good feel for who's running ads, how much you're spending. The next thing, let's just do this one in the chat really quick. So if you are running ads, for those of you that are, would you just pop in the chat your letter here? Or if you run ads in like, let's say the past year or even like maybe 2 years, let's go. So what is your biggest frustration with ads? And I promise you, if you're running ads, you've got at least 1 or 2 of these. So A, ad costs are too high. There's always a ton of A's. B, targeting the right people. C, getting people to convert. D, your lead quality. E, I don't know what to say. So like ineffective messaging or uncertain messaging. F, ads are getting rejected. G, your account is getting shut down. You're in Facebook jail. Or H, you're hitting a scaling plateau. So if you guys wouldn't mind, okay, cool. Yeah, so if you guys wouldn't mind just popping in, Carrie started us off here with B, targeting the right people. I see A. This is so good, you guys. In fact, our secret is that this year we're launching in the fall a really cool program to help people with offsetting their ad costs, because ad costs are a huge consideration. I mean, marketing in general, right? And when your ad costs start getting above your threshold and just a little bit too high, I mean, everything starts to feel too tight, uncomfortable, and it gets really stressful. So the letter A there is usually like is usually pretty common there. Tim says targeting the right people. Okay, guys, I love that. So I want to address all of this and more, and I'm going to just kind of scroll through here and give you guys some frameworks that really help us to overcome some of these major ad challenges. So the first thing that I want to get into though is like budgeting. And this might be really basic for this group, but some of you might actually really appreciate the refresher on, or the approach that we take to budgeting. So this is kind of how we think about when people come to us and they say, how much should I even be spending on my ads? This is kind of how I break it down. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself, if you are in maintenance growth or hyper growth mode in your business, and you guys feel free to put this in the chat too. It's really helpful for a conversation, just for me to see where everyone's at. But basically, if you're in maintenance mode with your business, you're covering attrition. Like you're losing a few clients or customers each month or each quarter, and all you're doing with your marketing and advertising is covering for that. So this often, like if you have a business that has like a capacity limit, this is where you're really thinking about maintenance mode, probably a lot more than if you're like an online business with unlimited capacity and things like that. Growth mode is you're looking to grow revenue month over month, and then hyper growth is you're focused on hyper speed, but for a short period of time. So like your bookkeepers would just, or your CPAs would like come and attack me if I recommended that you be in hyper growth mode for the full year, right? Like you can do it a quarter at a time, but you're sacrificing some profitability perhaps. You might be sacrificing, your P&L is not quite as tight and right as it should be when you're in hyper growth mode. And so therefore, you're only in that stage for like a period of time. You're really like taking advantage or leveraging a season. So like right now, for example, we have a client who's in the health space. Acquisition is like so cheap right now because it's the start of the year. Everybody's thinking about their health goals. And so we are just like pounding the budget and scaling as much as we possibly can, because we know our lifetime value, and we know that those clients will continue, or those customers will continue to order throughout the year. And so we can like be in hyper growth and sacrifice profitability so that we can get acquisition, just cruise on acquisition and then reap those dividends all year long. All right, so this is based on what type of business you have. I think from the chat, we have like a lot of service-based and online business models here. Not as many brick and mortar from what I saw. So this is kind of like where your CPA would probably advise and be comfortable in terms of your spend. Now, you guys, this is all marketing in general, not just your Facebook spend. And so we'll get into that as well in just a moment. But you can kind of see here, if you're in maintenance mode, this is how much of your revenue you should be allocating to your marketing budget. Now, some of you, I mean, this is like a general, very general range. So obviously you guys know your numbers. Sometimes these numbers feel too high or even too low. And so you just have to base this based on what you know about your business. But these are some really excellent ranges here. So if you are service-based, maintenance mode, 3 to 5%, growth mode, 5 to 10, and hyper growth, like 10 to 20, right? And if you've got an online business model, those numbers are different as well. And then when we think about how much do we want to be spending of our marketing budget on ads, so it kind of depends, and it really, really is a case-by-case analysis, but for the most part, a really good starting recommendation is 50% of your budget on digital advertising. So that could be PPC as well as Meta, or I should say Google and Meta. 50% of that budget on, I mean, honestly, like all the other things you can be doing, like placing podcast ads, or you could be I don't think I count affiliate in that, but anyways, you might be doing some print, you might be doing some mailers. It just totally depends on your budget, or excuse me, your business model. But about 50-50 is a really good place to be. Now, some of you might be spending 75 to 80, even 90% of your marketing budget on digital ads. That's fine. But it really is good to build up you don't want to be just dependent on one channel. That's like so dangerous, especially when these platforms make big pivots and big moves. You don't want like 80% of your revenue to be dependent on ads, ideally. However, I say that, I talk myself blue in the face about this, and still people continue to depend on ads as like their primary driver, and that's totally fine. But I always like to just say, I think that it should be a more balanced approach. Okay, Joey says we're at 25% marketing ad spend, blended CAC at hypergrowth. Gosh, I love it. That's awesome, Joey. That's amazing. And then I see a lot of like growth, hypergrowth. That's great, you guys. Okay. So this is like our minimum testing budget. So somebody's coming to us and they're saying, I want to test a new webinar and just kind of get some really great ads going. Here's kind of your budget that you should plan on for testing. You guys, if you are running a bigger operation, this budget seems like pennies. If you're just starting out, this budget may seem like a lot. And so if you're doing minimum viable testing, you can get away with these budgets. If you have like $100,000 ad budget, you probably want to add a zero to a lot of these. Okay. So like, you're probably going to be spending a lot more to get better results. But if you're just starting out, this is a really good range for getting the minimum amount of data that you need to make great decisions and continue to scale your ads. I also have, I'm so sorry, it's a little blurry for some reason. I also have our expected cost per result. Hopefully that made it a little less blurry. And this is based on, we've seen about 3,000 ad accounts over the past 5 years. I've been doing advertising for 12, but inside of our membership, where we just have access to ridiculous amounts of data, this is kind of a really good expected cost per result. So if you're B2C or B2B, there's like some really good starting result guidelines for everybody. By the way, for those of you who are running ads, do these ranges kind of fit in with what you're seeing based on your sales funnels or whatever it is you're selling?
Yeah, and let me just interject for 1 second, Tara,
Yeah.
if that's okay. Guys, this slide right here is like gold, truly. Because if you don't have a basis point to measure against, it's difficult to know if you're overpaying or
Yes.
winning.
Yes.
So
Yes.
can they
Yes.
screenshot this?
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean,
A screenshot, anything you want, you guys, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, guys, this would be one of those writer downers. And anyone watching the replay, because Tara, we will have a bunch of guys just on the
Yeah,
replay. Unfortunately,
absolutely.
I got last minute messages bailing, which I'm sorry about that for you.
They don't
But
want to sing to me.
yeah, they don't. Sometimes it's actually adverse. People don't want to even show up because they don't want to sing. But anyway, the point is, this is a really good slide, guys, and stuff that sticks out like the free webinar. Has anyone ever tried, like, we got a webinar coming up? Yeah, Tim's running a webinar. Like, you think about it, like $2 to $5, that's the cost per acquisition of a register, right?
Yeah.
Or-
B2C and more if you're B2B. But
yeah.
yeah.
So this is like really important numbers to base your data on, and that's why I just wanted to highlight it. So proceed, Tara. Apologies for the interruption.
Yeah. You guys, I am shocked at how many people will not say the numbers. And I think one of the things that has built our reputation is we will say the numbers. We will predict your ad results. We do tell people when things are not going well, when they need to completely rework things. I mean, I think that so many people out there who do ads, they're just so afraid to commit to a range of, what the cost should be or how many results it will drive. And we are not afraid. So I always try to share as much as I can about what really we're seeing based on the data. Okay, so with that said, and hopefully that was helpful for everybody. The next thing that I want to talk about is when should you outsource? So for those of you who are running bigger budgets, I would love to hear in the chat for everybody's edification, at what level of ad spend did you start outsourcing? And if you feel comfortable, share how much the agency, your first agency or freelancer was charging to run your ads. And I'm going to share that while you guys are sharing that. I'm going to share our rule of 5,000 a month. So back before I started Successful Ads Club, I was doing a ton of consultations. So I had developed a bit of a reputation for rehabbing problematic and expensive accounts. And I was doing these $500 an hour consultations. And I would look at like the P&L, how much they're paying their ads agency, like their ad spend. I guess I was probably diving in deeper than like just a normal ads person looking at the account. I was like really trying to piece together the whole puzzle of how ads were contributing to their financial model. And the number one thing that I realized was that hardly ever, I mean, I'm talking in very, very, very few instances, did it ever make sense to start outsourcing your ads until you were spending 5,000 a month. And the reason for that is because most agencies are charging between, if they're good and they know what they're doing, I mean, minimum 2,500 to 5,000 a month right now. For my private clients, for example, it starts at 7,500 a month. And not saying any of that to like toot our own horn or anything like that, but it's simply that at that level, that you're going to get big budget clients that come in. And that is what most advertising agencies want. They want big budgets because they charge based on a percentage of ad spend typically, right? So if you're paying, let's just say you're paying like 3,500 a month to somebody who knows what they're doing, and your ads budget is 5,000 a month, it is never, hardly ever going to make sense on the bottom line. And your bookkeeper and CPA will be flagging that like all day long. Like you're just spending too much based on the like percentage of your ads budget, right? It's just, it makes no sense. And like I said, very rarely did I ever see it make bottom line sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carrie got charged 5,000, 10,000 a month from our last agency with our biohacking biz. Exactly.
Yeah,
And yeah.
and one note real quick on that. So sometimes, guys, if you haven't hired an agency, they're incentivized oftentimes
Yes.
to spend more money because they get a
Yep.
percentage of ad spend. So it really doesn't do you much service. I'd rather structure deals. I don't know if you do these kind of deals where there's an incentive based on ROAS, return on ad spend, where there's like a bump. Maybe Joey, how much do you guys pay a month do you have an agency, Joey?
Yeah, I was actually going to drop it in the chat, but the whole percentage of ad spend for a performance comp is horrible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't incentivize anybody except for the agency or the broker. But we do a percentage of contribution margin share, and we tier it. So the faster they hit that, the more they
Smart.
make. And our goal is for them to make a lot more than what they'd make on a flat rate retainer. So yeah, we do it a little bit differently though.
Yeah.
So good. Joey, how much for your very first agency that you ever hired, how much were you spending per month and how much did they charge you?
I couldn't answer because I don't run that side of the business.
Oh, okay, fair
I only
enough.
work in partnerships, but I've been privy to like the comp models we've been designing, and we do the same with our
Yeah,
brokers for like podcast ads.
cool. All right, you guys. So
They
take
did
this
spend
rule.
50K for a Joe Rogan ad, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Hear the window open and just listen to the breeze there of money flying out the window.
All right, you guys. So take that rule and run with it. Okay, the next big thing is like, how much time should you be spending on ads? So if you're going to do this yourself, or if you're going to have one of your team members take this on, how much time should they be spending? So this, hopefully everyone can see this slide well enough. This is based on your experience level over an 8-week period. So how long would it take you to acquire the skill of doing your ads and bringing this into your business? So if you were going to bring this in-house, assign this to a team member, etc., and they knew nothing, they probably want to spend about 2.5 hours per week to really learn this and do it well on your account. If you're like feeling, no, I'm like super competent, I know what I'm doing, you probably spend between 1.5 to 2 hours per week taking that skill set up to the next level over an 8-week period. And then after 8 weeks, I'm just going to show you here the maintenance mode chart. So this really, okay, so Joey just shared his ad spend with us, right? Joey, you're over 100,000 a month or right around there.
Yeah.
So this is probably about the amount of time that your agency is working on the account, meaning like hands-on keyboard inside of your ads. This is also like the design team, sourcing UGC, blah, 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 all the things that go into it. So, like 25 to 45 hours per month. And then since they would be like your agency partners, they're also probably spending another 16 to 25 hours per month communicating to you guys, reporting back to you. Like the communication load on agencies is really where they're charging a ton of their money, right? And so let's just say your ad spend is like 5 to 10,000 a month, and you're like, how much time would it take for me to do this myself? Hands-on keyboard, you're looking at like 2 to 5 hours per month. And if you were to hire that out to an agency, they're probably spending about the same amount of time, but they're adding in a lot of communication hours, reporting hours, etc. And there is, for especially clients that have never run their own ads, you're going to pay a lot more for all of the extra reporting and client education that they need to take you through in order to do their job well. So you can just see kind of some estimates here of how long would it take you to do it yourself. And if you're working with an agency, how much time should they be spending if they're doing a great job in developing reports, communicating, developing strategy, quarterly planning, like all of that stuff that just takes a lot of admin time. All right. Is everybody still with me? Is this helpful? Are you guys awesome?
Yeah,
Okay,
very
cool.
helpful. Thank you.
Let's go to the key metrics of success for not wasting any ad spend. I mean, the number one thing that just drives me bonkers is people wasting money. You guys, like easily half of all ads budgets, unless they're really, really well maintained. Let's just say half of all ads budgets that are just undereducated, kind of thrown out there, easily 50 to probably like 60% are just, it's just garbage. I mean, it's just like lighting money and throwing it, you know, like just tossing it in the garbage basically. And so we don't want to waste money. And there's a few ways that we control that to make sure that we're not wasting money. So this is like my foolproof formula. There's 3 metrics you need to know to get to like a really successful campaign. And then I'll give you the numbers for like a life-changing, business-changing campaign. But like, if you can get to these numbers, and they don't all 3 have to be perfect. I got to remember to say this. Not all 3 of these have to hit perfectly, but if you can get 2 out of the 3, you're like in successful campaign territory. So the first metric is GM. That's good messaging. And that is indicated, and if you guys don't know where these metrics are, don't worry, I can show you really quick if we want to do that in Q&A or whatever. But CTR link click-through rate of 1 to 1.5%. If you are getting into really big budgets, so Joey, I'm sorry to keep using you. I just see you right there and you've already answered some great questions. Your CTR link click-through rate might have a hard time if you're at like mass volume to get to these numbers, but you should.
Oh, is that on her end, guys? Can you guys hear her? Oh, okay.
I can hear you, Carrie.
Oh, okay. So that's not me. It's not just my computer. All right. Well, what do we think so far?
Does anyone live on more of like the B2B world, where everyone's on Meta, right? But like, my whole world is LinkedIn. Does anyone have a similar services type business and you still find Facebook really relevant for you?
Well, I think LinkedIn is very relevant still for ads, and a lot of these ads, a lot of it translates, I think, to Google, like the data points at least, you know. I don't know, maybe Steve does LinkedIn because I know you work more B2B, right, Steve? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. No, I use LinkedIn, but I've never paid for any advertising on it.
Oh, I mean, Joey, do you guys run any LinkedIn stuff?
No, nothing.
No. Mike was talking about optimizing his LinkedIn, but I don't know if you. Oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
All
No
right.
worries. We
Let's
were
hope
just
that I
shooting the
switched
breeze.
my Wi-Fi connection. So I'm hoping our other one will work. Okay, I'll run through this real quick and then I'll get
Okay.
into ad stacks and then we'll do any.
Uh-oh. Is that her again, guys?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. She got us with the old bait and switch on the juicy good stuff.
And I was ready. Had the pen out and everything.
I know Tim's taking notes over there. I like it. I mean, it's like if you're serious about ads, this is important stuff, you know.
Okay, I'm gonna go off video and see if that helps our connection.
Okay. We still.
So sorry,
Oh, there
guys.
you
go. Okay, let's try this. And it's telling me my internet is unstable and I've switched to our other Wi-Fi network. So I'm hoping this works. I'll stay off camera.
go. Okay.
And if it doesn't work, you guys, I'll come on my phone and then we can just kind of do like Q&A sort of.
Okay.
But basically, so let's go on to the next one. Your next one is that your CPM, this is the cost per 1,000 impressions. This is how much Facebook is charging you, even if you don't get any conversions. So if that CPM spikes over $42, there is something in your ad copy, on your landing page, or in your URL that the algorithm does not like. So some big things that are really sensitive right now on Facebook, too many usages of the words you and your. It's too personalized. Facebook doesn't like that, feels creepy. Pronouns, any mention of gender at all can be really sensitive. Age, religion, obviously anything that identifies people too closely. So, and then you've got really sensitive niches, which is what all of us are basically working in, which are money, anything with health and wellness, and then of course relationships, right? So whenever you're working in those niches, which virtually I'm guessing most of us do, oh, and of course financial, you're going to have certain sensitive phrases and words that you just got to be really careful about. I have a whole list of them, by the way. If anybody would like that, I can pop the link into the chat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure-free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that The Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
But
Yes,
using,
please.
yeah, okay, I'll pull it up. Using too many of those can just spike your costs, and that will make your CPM higher than $42, and that's kind of the safe zone. If you start to see above that, Facebook does not like something that you're saying somewhere in those three places I mentioned. And the next one is great landing page. So, all right, I know this is a massive range, so let me break this down by industry. If you're e-commerce, 1 to 3%. If you are, and really like 3% is such a good baseline to get to. If you are booking calls, consultations, free quotes, things like that, 5 to 8% is a great starting range. And if you are doing free information, so register for my webinar, download my free swipe file, template tool, whatever, 30% plus is fantastic. Okay. If you want like life-changing numbers, you just bring all these numbers up to the next level. So CTR link click-through rate, pushing up to as close to 2% or higher as you can get. Very difficult to do, by the way. Lots of A/B testing there, but man, it makes such a difference on your ad costs. CPM under $30, and then we're taking those landing page numbers up to the next level. So if you're e-com, you guys, I have a private client right now, e-com, their conversion rate is 19% on their Shopify store. And for a $200 product, it is like, I just don't even know how to explain how like unicorn status that is. But it allows us to do a lot of really great things. So e-com, I would say like the kind of golden standard, if you are in the top percentage of e-com, it's like 5 to 10%. I mean, Shopify themselves says you're in the top 2% if your e-com store is converting at over 5%. So if you are doing calls, consultations, things like that, above 8%, 8 to 10%. And then if you are booking webinars, you know, free guides, like basically lead generation stuff, anything over 30, 40%, you can really get those as high as 70%. It takes a lot of A/B testing. Although sometimes not as much as you would think. I had a landing page we launched last week, like 3 weeks ago. I thought it was going to be a total hit, and it was a huge bomb. So I just took the copy on it to ChatGPT and got some recommendations because I didn't have a ton of time to sit there and analyze copy myself. And within about 5 minutes, I launched another version that looked good to me. And that was converting at 18% over the next 100 or 200 conversions. And that's like still very low, but much better. And then I did the same thing, had like 10 minutes last week, and I popped it into ChatGPT. I said, okay, great, it's 18% now, let's get this higher. And that landing page is now at 31%, I think, just based on those two tests. So this doesn't have to take a ton of time, but you can really climb your way up to these conversion rates. Okay, now I want to, before I lose internet, I want to go into my technique stacks, because here's what will happen all the time. People will say, I've tried everything. And I'm like, well, have you really? Because these are just like some of my frameworks, but I promise that almost any one of these will get your account unstuck. So if your account is ever stuck, so this is probably more for like my advanced advertisers, or for those of you that aren't advertising yet or haven't in a while, just stick this in your back pocket as something you might reference later on. But I have, my warm-up protocol. So this one is, I used to actually hate this one, and now I see it doing really, really well, and I love it. But this is where you are sending people either to a podcast or a blog, or you're having them watch some of your most popular reels, turning those into video view ads. You're warming up an audience, and then you're retargeting them later on the back end. Now, this has like a ton of gurus that have named this strategy all sorts of different things over the years, and I had never seen it consistently work across different industries and business models and things like that. So I never recommended it until like the last couple of years, when actually it's been doing extremely well. So now I recommend it everywhere. The next thing is the testing protocol. So just for the sake of time, I'm just going to say, you do not want to be throwing stuff out on Facebook and seeing what sticks. That is a money waster like nothing else. So you want to take your ads through a really specific testing protocol. I've got a fantastic one. There's so many that you can. Facebook Blueprint will have ways of doing the testing. And you just want to basically put it through a testing protocol that is going to test the variables for you and make sure that you are getting to the right ad in the most streamlined, cost-effective way. Okay, the next couple of ones are, this is CBO, so testing your budget basically at the campaign level and the ad set level. Ad set stacking and dynamic creative protocol. These are two angles on the same technique, which is basically how you're going to put your ads together inside of your ad set so that Facebook can find the winner the fastest. Using messenger ads, and of course, making sure that you've got retargeting. So this is kind of like a very basic technique stack. And then this is my creative stack, you guys. So people say, again, I've tried everything. Well, let's look at your creative. I like to do undesigned creative, designed, more of that like IG style, infographic. Oh my gosh, there's so much money in collages, you guys. This is one of my favorite ways to get an account unstuck creatively, is to experiment with collages, carousels, and memes. Like, there is so much here that like will unlock almost any creative problem that an account is having if you just test these 3 types right there. Then you've got long form video, short form video, and then more of the same on the short form is like the reel style videos, GIFs, and then UGC. So it's user generated content. And user-generated content is still having a moment, but I predict that it's going to, I'm seeing it decline across a lot of industries. I think it's going to continue to, it's going to be strong. It's just not going to be as strong, I think, as it once was. I think the consumer is kind of onto the game of it, you know, not knowing if UGC is an actor or somebody that actually believes in the product. Unfortunately, there's so many UGC abusers out there that it's tough to tell if a product is truly beloved or if you're just paying $75 for a content creator to, you know, make that UGC style ad for you. And then the copy stack. So oftentimes the rut that we get into as business owners and advertisers is basically forgetting that there's so many different types of buyer mentalities and buyer psychologies. And so oftentimes we market to our same type, right? So if I am a real emotional buyer, it's going to not surprise me if a lot of my ads are emotionally driven. So you want to make sure to target all of the different buyer types. So you've got emotional copy, logical, pain point, pleasure point driven, copy that overcomes objections, testimonials, and then really not forgetting headlines and styling. And styling, you guys, is like the emojis and you know, if you're targeting like a younger demographic, getting rid of your punctuation, for example, is a really great thing to do. And there's just so many different things that people forget about when it comes to like the copy portion of their ads. And sometimes they also just get stuck in a rut. And so we want to make sure that we're really hitting all of these different ad types as we're doing the copy as well. All right, so to summarize, we talked about determining kind of a good range for a proper meta budget, how much time we're going to spend on ads, understanding those key metrics of success. And by the way, you guys, for those of you running bigger accounts, those are great metrics to kind of, you know, help your ads teams continue to keep up the creativity on your account, and helps you as well just kind of red flag anything that's looking a little too crazy. Hopefully your ads team will catch it, but they don't always do that. And then, and hopefully, you know, this gives for my advanced advertisers, especially having some of these stacks that you can use for your teams or pull from when you just need to get out of a rut. Because the truth is that it's really super easy to get into an ads rut where you are just kind of doing the same thing and hoping for success and growth. And you've got to keep it interesting, add variety, make sure you're hitting all of the different buyer types. Keep your creative refreshed, especially once you get over into bigger budgets. One of the reasons why, as you get into bigger budgets, that you require more time on the account is just because you need to spend more time analyzing the creative, creating new creative that iterates on those successes, and making sure that you're following the trends and things like that. So the creative piece of it, as you start to spend more, just because more of your audience is seeing that stuff all the time, you do need to keep it fresh. It does become a much bigger part of the job. So, but until you get into those big ad spends, honestly, like you do need to refresh your creative, but not nearly as frequently. Okay, I think we did it without losing internet again. So
Yeah. That was amazing, Tara. Thank you so much. Guys, clap it up for Tara, y'all. I mean,
thanks, guys.
I don't know about you guys, but those visuals of the creative stack, the copy stack, and the technique stack, those were like a little mind melting to look at that. And you could tell a lot of work went into your formula and processes. So just shout out to you. And I will say, just explain to them the ads club, because I know I just guys dove into the Successful Ads Accelerator, very impressed by it and the content. We're going to start ramping up paid traffic for the Happy Hustle and the podcast and stuff. So I asked Tara for some support here. So I'm like, actually, this is something we're actively doing as a team. But just talk to real quick about the ads club and what
so
that entails.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Yeah, and actually I made a link for Carrie. He didn't ask me to, but it's adsclubcarrie.com, just to make it easy for everyone to remember. I made Carrie partner with me if just so that he can share this out with anybody that's interested. So basically, inside of our accelerator, we take you through 7 very, very simple, quick, and easy steps. And each of those steps includes one-on-one coaching. So we make sure that everything in that step was done correctly. So when it comes to like the ad tech, which is the pixel portion of ads, there's going to be a coach, one of our ads experts, who's going to go in and make sure the pixel was set up perfectly and help optimize and refine if there's anything needed there. So every single step has one-on-one support. This became really important to us. Our club used to be just kind of like office hours and Q&A each week. And ads have just become a little bit more complex. I think we all recognize that. And what we kept hearing from our members was we just want more one-on-one support and one-on-one time. And so that's our way to be able to do that. So there's 2 phases. The first phase is all one-on-one support. There's no group, there's no Facebook group, there's nothing like that. It's just one-on-one, get you through the initial phase of understanding how the ads work for your account, making sure that your account is set up correctly, all of that. And then once you graduate from that portion of it, then you do drop into still one-on-one support, but with the additional group coaching. You can drop in on our office hour calls, all of those, our Facebook group, all those fun community components where it's incredible. But for the first phase, we just want everyone to go through in a really structured one-on-one way. So that is our accelerator. If anybody's interested or knows anybody who might be, you can just send them to adsclubcarry.com. And then,
I do think that link, is that link working for you guys?
Uh-oh.
It wasn't working for me, but honestly, the one-on-one component, yeah, if you maybe, was it not working for, it wasn't working for you, Tim?
Oh no. Okay,
No,
hold
I
on.
tried. Yeah.
Try clicking that, you guys. It might just be, I wonder if it's something about
successful ads. Successful ads.
Oh, sorry, I said it wrong. Oh, I said it wrong. Successful ads carry. Oh my gosh, yeah. Click that one. Sorry.
Well, and I know we didn't talk about this, Tara, but like, I don't need any kickback or anything from any of the Happy Hustle Club guys. I'd rather give them discounts. So if we can pass that on, you know, that would be ideal.
We can totally do that. Okay, guys. So that will just be a really nice discount for everybody. If anybody's interested and you join, then just reach out to, I'll just pop this in, hello@successfuladsclub.com. And then what we can do is we'll waive your second payment. So there'll be no second payment, and that's how we'll do it.
Thank you, Tara.
That's really on the fly. So there we go, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you.
I'll be sure and tell my team.
Yeah, thank you so much. Tara, do you have just, I know we're a little bit over the allotted time, but do you have just time to take just like 9 minutes of Q&A real quick, and we'll just go to the topic? Okay.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you have questions, like, I do want to stress, like, her consulting hourly rate is, you know, it's up there. So now's your time to get a real expert and you know, get some real great insight. So if you have a solid question, go ahead and, you know, put it in the chat, and then maybe we can, you know, dive in. Who wants to start? Or if you want to just unmute, just unmute yourself. Don't worry about typing it. We can just ask it. Tim, you got one?
I was thinking, so just phenomenal. Thank you. So I think I would classify myself as still kind of trying a lot of things and seeing what sticks. So what would you advise kind of the right line between, I don't know, at the campaign level, there's some optimization that can happen, but can you just give a very quick kind of primer on just either some things definitely to avoid or things to certainly, you know, focus on?
Well, and I was just going back, Tim, to see, so you're a business coach, consulting investor. What are you running your people to? Is it to a webinar? Like, how are they learning? Like, what's your sales funnel like?
So primarily we're running 2 campaigns. We have a retargeting campaign, and then basically to a handful of lead magnets effectively at this point. But for context, I'm pushing to, I have a podcast as well, which we're
Right.
repurposing into utilizing as a way to get potential clients. So it's
Right.
going to be like a 20-minute business breakdown. I've been working with Carrie on this. So it's basically a diagnostic
Great.
live. So instead of like, do you want to be a guest? It's going to be, do you want to be a guest? But you'd also be a great client. So I'm trying to also, that's what my next
Oh, I
campaign is going to be.
love
So if you have
that.
any thoughts, or I'll be checking out the new link here.
Yeah. Okay, so where you've got a podcast, and for anyone that does have a podcast, honestly, I would be running like I would look at your top 5 podcasts and or the top 5 podcasts that convert into customers for you, and just running some evergreen traffic ads to those podcast episodes. I know that sounds overly simple, but it works really, really well. Like I don't know, anywhere from $2 to $20 a day per podcast episode, depending on your full budget, would be great. And then I love that you are sending people to some lead magnets. It sounds like through retargeting, maybe some cold traffic as well. And that's a wonderful place to start. What's really, really helpful, I used to advise in a business coach consulting program. And over and over again, we just saw that video was the clincher. So if there's a way for them, even in your lead magnet sequences, if there's a way to get in front of them with video, so that could be a webinar, it could be a VSL, it also could just be almost like YouTube clips, of just like, here is the number one thing that I see business owners ignoring that makes all the difference, whatever it is. The more you can be on video in front of them, the better. And then just making sure that all that sequencing is leading to, of course, to book a call, and then retargeting ads to book that call as well. So that's kind of like low budget. And then if you had like a webinar funnel, I mean, you can really drive a lot of business through a dedicated webinar funnel as a business coach. So that could be something else that you want to think about or experiment with.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely will do the low hanging fruit ones. The second one,
Yeah.
the webinar
Yep.
funnel, I think will be the next step. So I love that guidance. Thank you.
Yes. And hopefully that sets us in the right direction, but happy to answer any other questions, Tim, that you ever have about it.
Yeah, and just a quick note, that webinar funnel, just thinking about it, Jordan, and Mike, more B2B, that would be a really great consideration, wouldn't it, for more B2B, the webinar
Yeah.
funnel to really gain awareness? Because Jordan, aren't you more B2B, largely?
No, it's B2C.
Is it B2C? Okay, well, Michael's B2B more so. So I mean, is there a difference in ads that you see more effective for B2B versus B2C?
So just like ad types.
Or strategy, I guess, like overall.
Okay, so for strategy, honestly, the strategy and setup is pretty much the same. I think where there's a real divergence would be the ad type. Like B2C, you do want a lot more testimonials, UGC, things like that. I just said that UGC I see declining. I'm just saying it's not as strong, I think, as it was, let's say, in 2022, early 2023. Client testimony, like customer testimonials, very strong though. So you want to reanimate those testimonials, dozens of different ways, and keep really putting the results out there in front. And B2B, I feel like, gosh, I don't want to say, like, you just don't need all of those. Like, it is helpful to have UGC, and you always want customer testimonial ads, but you can also just have like undesigned images or design images that just really state the benefit of what people are about to sign up for.
Yeah.
I think that everybody will always say our webinar's dead, lead magnets seem like they're dying. And honestly, I don't see that at all. Like, your particular webinar funnel might be dead, but webinars are not dead. So it's just making sure that everything feels fresh, that the content is really good. I mean, we all know that like great content, no matter what form it's in, it's always going to sell. And so just making sure that the value is really huge. People are getting, you know, if I'm thinking B2B, like sales funnels in general, that people are getting very quick wins, and like mindset shifts is very important. And then that you're driving them effectively to, for most high ticket, it's going to be book that call, right? And if I'm thinking through what else might be helpful there, you know, if you're thinking through cost per call for high ticket, you want that to be generally under $250. Although I have certain clients that have, you know, they're selling $50,000 packages, their cost per call, they do not care if it's upwards of $500. I'm thinking of one of our financial advisors in the club right now. He's like, I'm totally fine with a $500 cost per call. Because his webinar funnel really does a great job in making sure that the leads are super qualified, and he knows he can close 1 to 2 of those calls. And for him, the numbers just work out beautifully. So just really knowing how much can you spend to acquire a customer. If you're selling a $10,000 package, you probably can spend, you know, $2,500 to $3,000 to get the customer or the client. And so, so that's kind of what we're seeing in those funnels. Did that answer that? I don't know if
For
that
sure.
was the most
Yeah,
direct
yeah.
way.
And sorry, I just like bulldozed the question,
No,
guys.
no, that's
But-
great. I think I didn't answer very directly, but I hope that.
Yeah, no, that was very helpful. That one question alone, guys, how much can you spend to acquire a customer, should be
Yeah.
burning in all of our minds. Like truly,
Yes.
you take nothing else away from this, which should be, you know, near impossible. Just ask yourself that, like, how
Yes.
much could you actually spend, and get that number clear.
Yeah. And like e-com, you know, I'm thinking, looking at Joey, for example, it looks like Mike does e-com. You guys know that number. Like that is the first thing that comes out of your business model, which is like what's your max CAC? You know what I mean? Like, you know, these things, but I think a lot of other business models, it's very murky. Nobody really sits down to like calculate that. And once they do, sometimes they're really shocked. They're like, wow, I spent $3,000 to acquire a really high ticket client. I had no idea, but then it liberates them to like realize I could spend a lot more, you know? So it just kind of depends on your business model.